If you happen to make it to Kyoto in Japan and you're a Nintendo fan like myself, the Nintendo Museum really is a must visit. There's an upstairs section with numerous glass cases highlighting original concept art, drawings, devices, and box art, as well as things you wouldn't have expected, spanning all the way to Nintendo's origins making Hanafuda cards. And downstairs is the interactive portion of your exploration through Nintendo's history, with activities like batting cages or giant controllers for you to take on classical Nintendo challenges. Even the gift shop on your way out had numerous exclusive items you wouldn't find elsewhere. Everything top to bottom was a tremendous experience, which makes it all the more confusing when you step into Hatena Burger Cafe in the building next door. You walk in, and it looks like your average upscale fast food setup. Stark contrast to the museum, there's not much character representation at all. Sure, it's got Mario's color scheme and a neat Zelda mural, but if they didn't have this hybrid question block hamburger logo, the only way you'd know this was Nintendo endorsed was that it's behind the same top-level security it took to get access to the museum. It's not like Universal, there's no Luigi drink, it's just melon soda. And there's no Yoshi Carbonara, they're just serving burgers. Make your own burgers, in fact, and having been out of the United States for 6 days at this point, I was down for the familiar concept. Everything can be done on your device while you're in line, which is great since you'll be choosing between numerous buns, patties, and ingredients, with Hatena Cafe's proud claim being that you can make over 270,000 different combos. Certainly some culinary expression to be had. You get to ingredients like scrambled egg, Kyoto green onion, and stir-fried lotus root. Put that on a chicken patty sandwiched between 2 black buns with some wasabi soy on top. Not only makes you genuinely think you might be chefing up, gives the impression that this is going to be some high-class meal. Especially whenever it's time to pay for your food. $14 for a burger combo may be standard if I'm back home eating at Chili's, but over in Japan, $14 gets me a platter of sushi, 1 whole squid, and a souvenir plate. Nevertheless, as long as the food hits, such is life. By the way, they even ask to take your picture with the logo when you get up there. Feels like it's gonna hit. Then you get this. And I know you can't judge a book by its cover, and I didn't, but I sure wish I would've. Tasted like the chef washed my burger in the sink just to make sure there wasn't any flavor residue on it. And it's not like the ingredients made up for it. They could have told me they ran out of wasabi and soy to make the sauce. It legitimately had zero taste. Came with these koro potato fries, which must be Japanese for not even salted. I suppose I could have subbed for coleslaw, but I'll be reasonable. Plus, not that I wanted any more of it, but 1 bite equated to a quarter of my burger gone. Definitely my worst meal of an 11-day trip. Would have rather ate a pork hot dog after watching a documentary on meat processing plants. And that's not just me. Sure, myself and 4 homies, each with their own terrible burgers, isn't enough to be statistically significant. Just check out the Google reviews. And no, that 3.3 star isn't because of Japanese norms when it comes to leaving ratings. And almost all of these reviews comment on positive atmosphere, if anything. Rarely the food. It's close to the line of objectively bad. Too terrible to be an accident. And for a tried and true formula, there's no reason it should be that difficult to make some recipe adjustments. Thus, I'm left to believe it's intentional. I know what you're thinking. Now, why in the world would Nintendo put up a restaurant that could diminish the experience by setting a bad mood before they enter the museum, or leave such a foul taste as someone's final memory of the day? Definitely can't be just to save money on ingredients. I understand 5 cents per patty adds up on a grand scale, but that's not the moneymaker. The moneymaker is the tickets, which obviously they would sell thousands of if they didn't have to factor in overcrowding ruining the experience. However, they're still trying to maximize tickets sold, and the best way to do that is control what times people are visiting the museum to balance the crowd throughout the day. You see, when you purchase a ticket to the Nintendo Museum, you have to select a 30-minute window that you can enter, most times 3 months ahead through a raffle on their website. There are no walk-in tickets, and the busier time slots can be tough to come by. Now let's say the assumption is the average Nintendo Museum goer takes 3 hours to see everything. That means in 3 hours they can fill your spot with another person coming at a different time slot. Even their card system containing your 10 coins that you can spend to play different games seems implemented to prevent you from loitering around the museum and congesting lines for popular attractions. However, once you're past security, it's not like a 3-hour timer starts and they come to get you if you dawdle. Sometimes a museum slightly above equilibrium, sometimes a museum slightly below equilibrium. But you can maintain pretty controlled numbers, at least until you factor in a restaurant. Because there's no timed entry to the museum or to the restaurant, there's timed entry to the premises. You could show up hungry and eat before the museum, work up an appetite and eat after, or decide no reason to eat there at all. Either way, they have to account for that variability in the amount of tickets sold. They could receive an influx of people coming from the restaurant, as well as straight from security, reaching an overcrowded level that diminishes the experience. The only way to mitigate this effect is to mitigate the time it takes to receive and eat your meal. Likely why you have the ability to create your order while online. Likely the reason for small portion sizes. Their goal is to minimize lines by price skimming customers willing to pay a Japanese fortune for a burger. And that just happens to be supplemented by the terrible food they serve there. If they were to improve the quality or reduce the price to match the quality, the longer lines associated don't necessarily benefit them. It's a good way to bring in extra money from those visiting the museum, but the second a crowded restaurant turns into a crowded museum, forcing adjustments in how many tickets they sell going forward, it becomes a net negative. Disregarding how their operations could be improved by reducing their vast menu and the overhead that comes with it, they don't have any incentive to make good food. And perhaps that's the better way to put it. Not that they set out with the intent to open a terrible restaurant, but they see that museum tickets are selling out regardless, poor food options won't prevent people from coming to see the main event, and they can maintain a moderately busy crowd of people who didn't look it up before visiting. Most importantly, they sustain the perfect scapegoat, the classic "my brother, you made the sandwich." With the museum only being a little over a year old, they can continue to operate under the name of Hatena Burger for now, and rebrand, reevaluate down the line as crowds become more manageable, and they do attempt to maximize how long someone spends visiting. Still, there's one major change they can implement in the meantime for a bustling restaurant to be a benefit to them. If I could go back in time, it'd be telling the planning committee it might be worth considering to put the cafe outside the walls. There's not too much competition in the area, it's certainly not the center of Kyoto. Our train stop didn't even say the name of the prefecture, just the Nintendo Museum stop. The cafe doesn't need to be barred behind security, there aren't many precious artifacts to be taken. People would be just as likely to stop in as they are now. Alas, I was not on the planning committee. The cafe is behind the same top-level security, yet the principle remains the same. The timed entry slot should be enforced to the museum. It's already printed on my card. It should just be checked before I'm allowed to wiggle Toad's head at the entrance. Since these are two distinct buildings, treat them as such. Then you don't have to account for fluctuating crowds. You can finally make the restaurant a true museum must-do, get some better quality ingredients, incorporate some character promotions, and entice people to hang out and enjoy their meal in this space. However, unfortunately, I'm 87% confident they'll stick down the route of if it ain't broke, don't fix it, remaining Hatena Burger until they need Donkey Kong's Diner to help push ticket sales and capitalize on those who visit. Such a shame for a well-thought-out museum highlighting the Nintendo we loved to be accompanied by an amusement park-esque cash grab next door. Just hope more visitors get to leave with a pleasant taste in their mouth in the future. Much like I hope this video left you pleasantly surprised. If you think you might be interested in sampling another video, I'd really appreciate you subscribing. Or perhaps maybe you could like the video solely out of appreciation that you now know to avoid the Hatena Burger establishment. Either way, you have a go.